Hey everybody, let me make sure we're all going. Sorry for my long absence. I hope to stream more regularly, but I also didn't want to waste people's time, so I wanted to make sure I had somewhat of a charge before I got back on, and something to say, like a point to make. So today, if you'll entertain it, I'm going to be talking about modern gods of our era that I think we should try to kill. It's kind of an abstract idea, but if you are enticed by the idea of conflict with these things, alcohol, central power, and money as we know it, then stick around. We're going to play the intro. It's like 4 minutes, and then we'll be right back.
But when the show finally turned on for the first time to get the bugs worked out, it was finally in a position where we could turn it on. I had tears in my eyes. There was some problems, there were some bugs that needed to be worked out, little knick-knack, little stuff, but it didn't matter. I seen it. They came to life. For 25 years they've been sitting in a crate, and I just breathed the first breath of life into them. And, yet again, there's no words to describe it. I sat here and I cried like a child because my dream had just came true.
I never walk about after dark. It's my point of view. Cause someone could break your neck, coming up behind you, always coming, and you never have a clue. And now I look behind all the time. I will wait forever, always looking straight, thinking, counting all the hours you wait. See you on a dark night. 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 And now another clue I would ask if you could help me out. It's hard to understand, cause when you're running by yourself, it's hard to find someone to hold your hand. No, it's gonna be tough for me, but I will wait for you. I need someone else to look into my eyes and tell me, girl, you know you gotta watch your health. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. La 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 la. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. La 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 la. See you on a dark night. See you on a dark night. See you on a dark night. on a dark night.
Hiya. I found the lapel. We gotta clip it up though. Hold on, guys. This is gonna be kind of messy. So let's make sure we're not blowing things up. To introduce the topic, it's good to kind of step outside the monotheist idea of God. I'm not talking about killing God. We're not Friedrich Nietzsche or anything like that. Think about more like the Greek or maybe the Shinto concept of God, where gods are embodied as almost like patrons, saints or guardians of different things, representatives of different ideas. And so for me, my big hit list, and I don't know if you guys will come around with it or not, is alcohol, central power, and money as we know it. And so we'll get there eventually, but just to introduce something, I've been dealing with Fortnite recently. And hold on, let me make sure that social's up, because I don't think we have, just in case we have chat. So I've been forced to play Fortnite recently, which I can't really recommend. But they just had this big event for Juice World where they were giving everyone skins away for free to let them play as, Juice World, who's this rapper guy. Hang on just a minute. Let's get in here. So I don't know what your personal relation with Juice WRLD may be. I never listened to his music, but I came to learn from him by one of his big fans who loved him to death, but was basically, just like a drug addict, do nothing. And that's the trouble, is that this young rapper guy, his whole thing, he kind of talked about living life and, his hard feelings, but he also did a lot of opiates and codeine and all that, and full on just died from codeine overdose. Now, we've all seen opiate overdoses, but it's a little silly and sad when, it's like somebody from our, it's like somebody that young people look up to. And so I'm confronted now where we have kids playing Fortnite, celebrity that abused opiates, and now it's this weird pseudo worship of this person that's no longer alive. And so let me show you some media just to contextualize. So real quick, this is the logo, or this is who you could be, right? I want to be Juice WRLD. And so if I wanted to, I could dress up like this and then go around and shoot guns at other people, right? Go around and kill people virtually and kill other Juice WRLDs, right? So there's like thousands of people running around shooting each other like this. Is this respectful of this person? Like, there are fans that are like, hell yeah, like this is the coolest thing ever. And maybe Juice WRLD, he would be totally in on it. But it's also kind of, it's a little bizarro, right? They wheeled in also this Takeshi Murakami. You would know him from this, perhaps, where he did all these hyper vibrant, smiley, maximalist kinds of art. And so this already draws kids in really fast. They commissioned him to do art for this, to promote it. And I just want you to consider this for a moment. Hold on. I'm going to move this a little bit because it's kind of over dragged. So it's abstract art, whatnot. But do you see that there's kind of like a detachment to the human form, and there's like, and there's all these weird, electric boogie monster space creatures that are jumping around and this and that. But even his expression is lifeless, and there's not really a, like, is this happy? Is this well? What is this, right? And so for this to be thrown at kids, I'm just kind of, I can get a little bit superstitious. It's like abyss 666, blah, blah, blah. This is a guy who didn't care enough about life to the point where he abused opiates, and his nervous system was so depressed that he didn't breathe enough, right? Like, that's usually opiate addiction, is you just stop breathing if you don't, throw up and suffocate on your own vomit or something, right? And so I get like, oh, well, why are kids worshiping this? Now, all of a sudden, right, we move on from this, and the next Fortnite skin for free is Godzilla, and I'm an old nerd, and I'm like, gosh darn it, Fortnite, like, I wanted to hate you, and I've given you all my baggage about Juice WRLD, right, and how it might encourage kids down this dark and dirty path, or might be like nihilism that's been commercialized and like glorifying a dead person. But now we have Godzilla, and this is going to be the free skin for January, and Godzilla represents the it's like the mythos that Japan invented to cope with the nuclear bombs that the US government and military dropped on them, right? Like that was two of the greatest terrorist acts ever committed in human history, and we still live under the terror of nuclear assaults. And so Godzilla was their way of understanding this kind of greater than nature, bizarro kind of power. And so I have a deep connection with Godzilla. And so I don't know, Fortnite has definitely curried my favor with their silly stuff, even though I'm not going to spend money on it. That's the other thing, is thankfully it's free. Now moving on to modern gods of our era. Alcohol. This is Budweiser Michelin Ultra Organic Seltzer. I've been trying to find something decent to drink because alcohol is the normal inebriant of our society, right? Like, most people just use that as the default, or caffeine or sugar, right? Those are kind of the drugs of choice. So much of alcohol is gross. It has hops and like different kinds of grains that have glyphosate, which is a pesticide. This ends up being like some sort of organic coconut water pseudo berry beverage, but it's still like a gay, like, it's like, what is this mystery fruit mixed with sugar alcohol, right? And then wine has preservatives and sulfites that can give you headaches and all kinds of stupid stuff. But alcohol, there's a lot of champions of alcohol. They say it's such a part of our society. We're coming into the winter, we're deep into the winter. I always think about that kind of, it's like a Saint Bernard with a big barrel around its neck. And if there's somebody frozen, there's some old cartoon, right? I'm sure I could dig it up. But, the St. Bernard gives him some of his barrel whiskey, and the guy's face turns from an icicle to rosy red because the spirits have warmed him from inside out, right? I mean, how many children, how many humans and like families exist with the assistance of alcohol, having people clumsily and drunkenly come together? Or maybe there are some maybe there's some big inventions that wouldn't exist if not for somebody getting really drunk and whacked out, right? On the flip side of championing alcohol, we have countless deaths. We have, family violence. We have assault, just kind of like the disability of inebriation. If like, it's a depressant, right? So if you're drinking alcohol all the time, your body is being down-regulated. And you just kind of check out, right? Like I've had to deal with a few people that have had an alcohol struggle, and I don't know, there's something about that detachment that I guess they have to connect with, right? Like alcohol pulls us away from our forebrain and into our hindbrain, where we're just sort of like a limbic, like little lizard person running around doing whatever we want. We're munching on peanuts, we're farting in the chair, we're grabbing someone's ass or whatever it might be. Maybe we're dancing when we wouldn't dance, right? And so there is like a can we argue that alcohol is an entheogen? I'm not sure, but people use alcohol to transform their consciousness, right? So we have to respect that to some degree. Now, why do I want to kill it as a god? In our era, and this is coming as an American, we have football, we have the holiday drinking, all the whiny bougie industry. Alcohol as a human technology maybe was used sparingly throughout history, right? Because it had to be fermented, it took time, you couldn't do it all year round. We didn't have the full scale mass industry where you could produce as much alcohol as you ever wanted. But now we have an entire branch of our society that is productivity, like our productivity and our attention is devoted. And in essence, these are the Templars, right? The priests and priestesses that are keeping alcohol alive. They sell it, they promote it, they pitch the idea of drinking as a lifestyle, and they try to weave it as something, kind of like a god. They try to weave it into any part of life, right? And they say, well, drink responsibly, right? Like, yeah, be good with your alcohol, but never leave your alcohol behind, right? Drink responsibly. It's actually a great marketing thing. We should deconstruct this just as a discernment practice. Drink responsibly is still a commandment. They are ordering you in the advertisement. They're saying, drink right here. Drink, everyone, drink. I have my drink, you drink. Oh, we got it on the mic. So drink responsibly. And sure, responsibly is good, la, la, la. But they are insisting that you drink. And they want you to keep drinking every day. I'm lucky in that I can take it or leave it. I favor other drugs. And so alcohol, it's not really my bag. But because it's the only thing in town, like imagine this, like even career-wise, to get by in some careers, like let's say if you're a lawyer and you're at a Christmas party and you don't drink with your boss, which is actually like probably a poor choice, right? But maybe they'll see, well, Johnny drank with the boss and they're like so much closer now, and now he's going to get the promotion and this and that. That kind of like tribal camaraderie of we're drinking together. There's like the church of, sports events where they're selling all the beer and things like that. So we can put it all together. How do we kill alcohol? I think we've done a good work in allowing people to have access to other entheogens. And I think that that's a big part of this, is if people have open access and have a safe understanding of how to use other mind-altering substances, and we could get off on all the lists of all the above. But if you compare alcohol to a lot of other substances, organic and inorganic, it's really not that impressive. It could screw you up, right? Like it's a powerful toxin, but it's, compared to LSD, psilocybin, tetrahydrocannabinol, right? All of these things, right? Even nitrous oxide. I'm actually kind of like angry about this. Like nitrous oxide is a better intoxicant and actually has more of an entheogenic, like a mind elevating potential if it's not abused, right? If it's not abused. it has a higher potential than alcohol ever could. I can use nitrous oxide and focus my thoughts on a subject and have a light bulb lit up brain focused on this entire thing, and in essence have a whole body feeling and thought that feels like a revelation, right? I might be like, holy shit, right? I might be struck by it. I can do that with nitrous oxide. With alcohol, can you see God with alcohol? I don't know, man. It's like messy, right? So access to other entheogens detracts from the worship of alcohol. And that's kind of the idea is, are we going to kill anything? It's important to bring up the middle path here, like yin and yang. If we were to, like teetotalers, where they did, what was it called, right? They abolished all alcohol, and it ended up having the mob like Al Capone and everyone, there was a huge enterprise, because as soon as you made alcohol illegal, it created this pressure where people wanted to have more of it. And so in a similar fashion, if you attack a god head on and you say alcohol, let's abolish alcohol all over, it's not going to function. You have to, in this case, alcohol is it's a relationship, right? Like, people have a relationship with this substance. And so, rather than the direct replacement or substitution of, you're going to do a different drug and still get wasted, there's also the thing of, if you have a wholesome life, like a life that's nurturing and nourishing, a rich, direct experience of the world, that, I think, would lead to people not wanting to chase drinking as much, right? Like, there's not as much of a need to spice it up or water it down, either way you look at it, if you're in a rich relationship with the world. And so it's strange to think of alcohol as a partner to nihilism, but I do put them in a similar family. So kill alcohol. I would be very pleased if alcohol died, and if people didn't treat it with such deference. If so much money wasn't spent on alcohol, if people didn't crash their cars or slap their children because they got drunk and this and that. I guess I could say my relationship with alcohol, and I don't think this is giving away too much, but my mom's father had trouble with drinking, and he was also abusive in his own ways, and I'll leave it at that. And so my mom loved me to bits and was very kind to me. Like, even if I broke a plate, she would be, understanding and sweet. But she always felt like she needed to do more, and she always felt like maybe, she was in trouble, even though there was nothing really wrong or nothing going on. And so I experienced that alcohol. And then also I guess she likes to drink, but she's a moderate, she manages it, right? But the trauma of alcohol would be through, and then I experienced it in some direct relationships. But we compensate for it, right? Like these things affect a lot of people, and alcohol, there's a lot of unseen costs. Like, if we mind Abyss and everything that's been lost or wasted because of its influence, it's pretty immense in Abyss, all the cost that it's accrued. So I hope that that's compelling. Let's move on to central power. Now, what is central power? Hold on. We're not talking about blowing up any phone companies or electrical things. Don't worry. Central power is the idea of a congregated human capacity, right? This is kind of going back to the human colossus. So with our ability to organize, and now that we've become a globally networked species where we can travel the whole planet, and maybe soon enough we might be able to even leave the solar system and colonize other solar systems or galaxies, right? Imagine that. Central power represents all of human organization that ties it together, whether that's like bureaucratically or through a volunteerism, into like a pyramidal sensibility, right? And it could be, it's very similar to monotheism here, right? Like the classical, there is one God. It goes back to Mesopotamia, so like 4,000, BC, where there was a God emperor king, and he was born of God or this or that. Like in essence, he was the dope and he was the shit, and anything he said was law. And if you took that for granted, the entire society, right, Babylonia, could organize around that. The Christian God, the Muslim God, the emperors of China and Japan, the kings of England, Adolf Hitler. Anyways, you get it. Central power, right? Joseph Stalin, right? The Soviet Union. Now, killing central power, that would be a big mistake, right? Like there's people that want to degenerate society and make it so that like we're like all monkeys living in mud huts and like rubbing our ass on leaves and stuff. I think that's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater to kill central power. But at this point, where has it gotten us, right? We should do our due diligence, honor your gods before you kill them. I think that might be the respectful manner about this. Central power has had us conquer most pathogens on the planet, right? Like we have antibiotics and I'm a cancer survivor. Without central power, we wouldn't have solved cancer treatment. It's not like people would just come up with it on their own. They'd be rubbing bushes on me and hoping I would get better. But, we have the internet. I'm streaming to you right now through central power. We're all networked globally. So it's a wonderful thing, right? It's the reason why we have so many humans on our planet today. It's also the reason why we face like tremendously jeopardizing circumstances, right? Like central power is why we have thousands of nuclear weapons pointed at strategic targets around the world. And in essence, with a few buttons, the whole thing could go up in flames, right? So you can see where I get a little bit wary of central power. It's given us a lot, but there is something kind of inherently dehumanizing about it. Like eventually, if you go so many layers up, human beings just become a number on a spreadsheet. And it's like you're moving cars around on a parking lot. You're just making things work out. The central power taken to its logical end would have a global government managing how you live your life. And in essence saying, this is the best way to live your life. You get your food delivered at your door. You get to eat what they let you choose to eat when they let you choose to eat it, right? Like it's just all solved. That, that's like that silly book, Thomas More's Utopia. And isn't the point of utopia that it can't be done? But there is kind of a hubris with central power, and this got caught up with the Soviet Union, where they thought if we really get together and we manage it, like we can just figure out the answer to every problem. We can just, power through it. But some of the inherent qualities of central power, and this is the thing about killing gods, is you have to understand the way they are, like with alcohol's strengths and weaknesses, our relationship with it. With central power, one of their inherent weaknesses is that they cannot be in touch with all of their subjects. Because they're central power, they must have remote tendrils, right? Like they have the entire nervous system of central power that's spread out. But the people on the top of the hill that are making the decisions, they are never going to know, with the immediacy and with the richness of direct experience of all the people on the ground. And that's the thing that gives me a lot of hope, like the American spirit. People might think if I bitch about America being a terrorist government that I'm not patriotic, but to be American is to criticize your government and to hold them accountable. So let it be known, I might be the most patriotic MFer on this freaking country. Not really, right? But I have principles and I care about our country. It's just that it's expressed differently because it's expressed with me not being obedient to things that I think are antithetical to our Constitution and the agreement that our citizenry has with our government. This is like you need to show up to your relationship, and if your boyfriend or girlfriend or wife or husband is treating you like garbage, you need to stand up for yourself and tell them, hey, I'm not going to take that. I expect a lot better from you. And that's the good thing, right? So central power, I think that something that's troublesome about central power is that a lot of times they escape accountability, right? Like imagine if you torch all the people that are losers on the ground, and then the person, the guy in charge gets away in a helicopter. It's the opposite of the, it's kind of like who knows if this is true, but this idea of like, oh, I'm the captain of this ship and I'm not going to abandon it. If I'm the last one on the ship, I'll stay. Everyone else, you guys leave. I'm going down with my ship as captain because that's my thing, right? That's not really how it goes. Although, credit where it's due, the guy from Bed Bath & Beyond, the CEO that was embroiled in all kinds of fraud, and he was going to face prison time, he just jumped off the top of one of his buildings and just, right? So there are people that go down with their sinking ships, but central power in general, I think, dodges accountability because you obscure who did it or why in the structure of the bureaucracy. It's also screwed up. Like imagine if you were ever in line and dealing with this where it's like, well, I can't do this thing. I'm here and you're here, but I can't do this thing or give you this thing that you want from me because of this rule here. And because of this rule, there's this and that. And now you have to go here and do that. And you see the way that it inflicts itself in like a weird kind of like perverted way. It insinuates into our relationships what otherwise would be human. A really weird example for this is serving food. So I think it might be illegal to go and give food to people. Or like you need to look it up, right? Like imagine if I went to like an area of my town and I were to give out grilled cheese sandwiches or something. I wouldn't be surprised if police show up at some point and they say, hey, you need to have a food license to be sharing food. Because in essence, I could be doing something malicious like giving them a bunch of poison or something. The truth is that the police, the government, the food regulatory body, like whoever would issue a food license that would let me give peanut butter and jelly or grilled cheese sandwiches out to homeless people, whoever that is, has nothing to do with what's going on, right? This is between me and whoever the fuck I want to give a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to. But central power interjects. And I think an important way to fight central power is to comprehend our local capacity. And that's more true than ever now. So, let's give credit to central power. It's delivered us from primitive, like prehistory to where we are today, where we are, hyper advanced and, we're almost overwhelmed with technological power. We have too much power and we're not socially and emotionally evolved enough to manage it right now. Central power, if we find our own capacity locally, the way to contest and kill central power would be decentralized power, such as sharing ways of doing things. it's kind of radical, but it's not a stretch to think that eventually there will be small nuclear reactors spread around the world that are just giving out free energy, and they're responsibly managed, and maybe they're meltdown proof. Like there's ways to do reactors that are meltdown proof, but it's things like that, like power. I think we can actually just sort out things like pharmaceuticals. You can synthesize drugs. Like they have things now like a 3D printed rig where you can synthesize, I think, like diabetes medicine. Hold on. It's wild. I need to look for it. People are doing things like this. No, that's not it. Well, it's just synthesis, right? Like, if you could synthesize your own insulin at home and you just get the components, why not, right? Like, it's like baking a cake. A lot of people, if you're able to bake cookies well, you can probably do some degree of chemistry. The difference is that with 3D printing, it's really neat. They've made it so that they can do a whole rig with all the different connections and tubes, and you just put the different parts and it'll do it for you. I might be underselling or overselling this. It's just one example of decentralized power. There are some things that we need to maintain, right? Like there's a military, there's things that we can't completely let go of, but the more that we adopt our own capacity in a decentralized fashion and connect with our local community, the more that we exert local influence. And that's the thing I love is localism. If I had like a little flag, I'd run around like localism, because I, by and large, very much in general favor the locals versus, this sort of like statutory body above and beyond, far away, right? Like I'll fight for my hometown, and if the state's coming and they're going to oppress my hometown, I might, be boisterous, right? I'll say that, right? And I think it's important to do that, right? Like it's important to have some degree of like immunity and like protecting yourself and protecting others, protecting the things you care about. It's also kind of radical to think with central power and how many rules that they've created, they are continuously challenged. Like you're probably breaking countless laws that you don't even know you're breaking. And many people, like even the police officers, judges, people that are involved with maintaining the law, will just electively choose to not exert it, right? Like the law, the central power, the bureaucracy of things, there are all these situations and occasions where humans have chosen with their consciousness to do what they want to do, regardless of whatever edicts or laws on the land or big tall tower tells you. I have like a humanistic trust that people will be willful, right? They're going to do what they want to do. So central power, I'm down for killing it. That doesn't mean blowing up buildings or anything like that, but to deflate the balloon and to exert very clearly and loudly decentralized local power is the way, right? That's the way it has been for ages. But with our world being networked and global, central power has become even more of a behemoth, like a huge threat that we have to face. So it's kind of scary, right? Like this is the kind of thing where if you contest central power too much, people might kick down your door. They might plant child pornography on your laptop, right, and have you locked away or something. There's all kinds of it's sort of weird, and we're dealing with this right now with Donald Trump and all this stuff, Joe Biden, blah blah blah. Like I'm gonna stay way the heck away from it, but Our human wariness of conspiracy and how humans get together and plot against each other, but also this weird idea, and I think that this is kind of a scary thing, of people feed into this of like, oh, the government, they're gonna kill you, and like, you know, they made this guy's Tesla accelerate 100 miles per hour off a bridge and blow up in flames, or, you know, like all these kinds of insinuations. There is sort of like, I have to disclaim, we can't worship with fear. And so like there's Mike Benz, a lot of people like this guy, Mike Benz. He goes around and talks about all the deep state stuff, and he gets a lot of credibility. But I think the one criticism I've heard from someone else is that he's basically like, it's done. There's nothing we can do. He's basically like, I'm just telling you all this stuff like Chicken Little, right? The sky is falling, the sky is falling. And in a weird way, for him to be waving the flag of doom is to be aggrandizing the central power, right? Rather than maybe we call out central power and we ridicule them, and we maybe take actions to cast light on their wrongdoing, right? Like if it really is human bureaucrats, and these are just petty little humans, and in essence like evolved apes that are in positions of influence, like Anthony Fauci, for instance, we can address that. They're not beyond our ability to address, right? Like I don't know, right? So we have to see central power as a human construction, and because it's a human construction, it's within our influence if we engage with it meaningfully, and not like thrashing around or, you know, falling into their provocations, right? Like it's sad the January 6th thing was a big bait to be provoked. And then that created, after January 6th, when all the, you know, grannies and grandpas ran around Capitol Hill, that gave them a huge budget to increase domestic surveillance and all kinds of oppressive practices in America. So if we want to stop stuff like genocide, we have to address central power and rein it in. There's one way of dealing with central power, which is to overwhelm it with, because it eats, like you think about central power takes from everything. It eats everything, it takes everything. And so if you give it something and it eats it, it can also, you know, like foul the whole tree. But I'm not sure, you know, beyond just like abstractly what that is. We haven't talked about it before, but it would involve snaking, which is like where you take a snake and you run it through an entire system. You just rip through something, and top to bottom, there is an upheaval, almost like dominoes, right? Like you reset the entire spinal column of central power. If you snaked it and you had some kind of, it's not like a bloodbath, right? Like that, it can't be like a violent, you know, like CCP revolution, or like the French Revolution, right? Like that's not the solution either. But to implement ways and means of people holding central power accountable, decentralized, which is completely within our capacity, I think we could get there. So that's killing central power. Now let me take a brief moment. I need my poor voice, right? Hold on. Here, you know what? I want to just play this. I'm gonna take a breather. I'll come back strong. Let's see. Okay, hold on.
Delete your Facebook, Delete your Twitter account, delete your Snapchat, delete your Insta, delete your Facebook, delete your Tinder account, delete your Snapchat, delete your Instagram. Meet me in the woods and we'll talk like people used to do. And you can tell me what's new. You can say, what's up, my dude? Great weather, you just can't beat it. What have you been working on? Did you see what the president tweeted? Delete your Facebook, delete your Twitter account, delete your Snapchat, delete your Insta, delete your Facebook, delete your Tinder account, delete your Snapchat, delete your Instagram. Delete your Facebook.
All right. Thank you. That was DJ Doug Pound in the house. So the last thing to discuss is money as we know it. And I like doing it as like a dollar sign. Let me look at my friend Charles Eisenstein, Sacred Economics. So do you remember this cheeky guy? Hold on. This guy's a real charmer, right? He's grown a bit. He loves sweaters. Oh dear. Charles Eisenstein, what's up? So he has this book, Sacred Economics. And it discusses kind of like a pre-currency society, right? Like this idea of, and it is kind of like communistic, right, or socialistic, sharing resources, sharing what we have. This a dissolution of the idea of I'm a separate person from you. This is mine. This is yours. Give me mine. Don't take that from me. Now you can't have everything fall apart, right? Like you have to pull it back together. I'll come back. Let's pull back. But it's very apparent that the capitalist engine, as much as it has pushed us forward with momentum, like there's an incentive thing that's needed, right? Like I think it may well be legitimate that if you give everybody money to live, that they won't want to work, right? Like that's kind of like the old man thing of like, well, Johnny's not going to work if he keeps getting, disability checks or money from his family or this or that. And so money compels us, right? And what is money? If we really consider it, it, at least the way that we relate with it, money is compressed time or value, right? Like it takes me this long of my ability to earn this much money. Then I go over here, I pay $10 of money for my compressed energy to get a soda, fries, and burger. And now I have my American square meal for $10 that I earned by working whatever fraction of time may be at my earning rate. But there's it's alchemy, right? There's alchemical qualities to money. You give a kid a $20 bill and their eyes light up and they're like, holy moly. You give a kid a stack of $21 bills and their eyes light up even more because it's so dramatic, right? All these like Instagram goofers that are like waving stacks of cash. They're like, yo, I got all this stuff. Yo, I got the boom boom. I got the bang. I got the money. Flexing on each other. Rap music, bling bling. Money occupies so much. The other thing that I'm always disturbed by is how much money is influences sex and relationships with women. Like if you have a nice job, women will want to have sex with you. I know it's obvious. I know I shouldn't complain about it, but whatever. I guess that's just survival, right? I shouldn't complain about reality, but money is a powerful force. It is a god in our world. There's been, talk of Mammon. Mammon is this old Judeo-Christian god involved with the pursuit of wealth. This is the classic, hold on. Mammon, gimme. It's disturbing to think if money is the regulatory principle that people lead their lives by, how much destruction and dysregulation occurred downstream of that. And I bring up, for instance, family relationships where, and it's kind of sad, right? Like, I'll put my kid in a daycare and I'll go work my job instead of being there with my kid. Or I might have financial disputes with people in my family. Maybe there's theft, right? Like there's financial infidelity, things like that. People fighting over wills and inheritances. I'm actually mortified of my siblings wanting to kill me just because they'll get more money or whatever. Like, in essence, if I live with an inheritance, that means that I have a big bounty on my head. Even if my siblings don't want to kill me, maybe their wives or husbands do, right? And maybe I'm getting carried away and too paranoid, but that's how much money can take up influence. Like, if you watched the last season of Westworld, one of the big features in the last season of Westworld is that everyone has phones and they're always getting these contracts. And it's like, okay, me and these 3 random people on our app have a contract to go and jump this drug deal and shoot the drug dealers and steal their money. But then halfway through the mission, I get an update and it says, you've been chosen. If you kill your partners, you'll get twice the reward so that we don't have to pay as many people, right? And it becomes a prisoner's dilemma of incentive structures. If money as we know it is the primary ordering principle of our world, we end up stealing, cheating, robbing, frauding, dog-eat-dogging. The spirit and soul of our world is completely devastated. This is where I want to love a woman and have a great relationship with her, even if that means that it doesn't work out. But because that also means that I might be completely financially destroyed if she chooses to nuke me, like the nuclear option relationally, that element of mammon and money has now become such a landmine in the relationships between men and women that men and women are no longer even trying to have a family. So you can see already, like if you follow me here, the devastation that the worship of money has already wrought on our society. Now, how do we kill it? I frame it as money as we know it, and I brought up our buddy Charles Eisenstein. Let's close this. Once we move, like if we have decentralized power and we're able to solve for a lot of these things and share capacity with humanity, right? Like imagine like protein synthesis, and you could have protein synthesis easily available so that people all over the planet could have food if they need. It's not a big stretch, right? I mean, you could already do that with mushrooms, right? Like mycelial protein. But anyways, we can address a lot of human sorrow and suffering, and in doing so, money becomes less of a survival issue, and it moves into more of this kind of disposable, expressive, kind of like a thing that you might do engage with in a different way. But beyond that, this idea of this money is mine, like clearly I don't agree with the bureaucratic central power, and this I get very wary of well, give me your money. I know what to do with it better. If everyone gives me their money, I'll figure it out, right? I'll be the best person if you give me your money. I get very wary of that because that's central power. On the other hand, this idea of hoarding wealth and keeping it to yourself, like I'm going to have a high score or this or that. If we get over this scarcity mindset and then maybe move beyond this sense of like competition all the time and into more of a sensibility of mutual benefit, then, you know, we could understand things better. And even money as we know it, a lot of times, if we focused our money where it belonged or was meaningful, rather than on vacuous things like Super Bowl ads or this or that, right? Like in essence, there is if we worship money, and money is now being collected in the pockets of a few people they're basically like the biggest winners because they're the savviest players, and yeah, they're adding value, but they're also winning more than everyone else, right? Like so it's like, okay, what do we do with that? It's stupid to think like, oh, let's kill every billionaire. I disagree with that, obviously. But if we grasped the abundance of our world and then also took account of the things that are scarce and treated them with more respect, I think money would be less of a thrall, right? Like that. I think that's the thing of like, we need to pull money away from humans in terms of like what drives us more than anything. And it goes back to alcohol, right? Like, have you found fulfillment in alcohol? Does alcohol deliver you or give you answers? Have you found fulfillment in money? Does money deliver you and give you answers? Money's really fun. Like I'm guilty, okay? I bought this stupid flag and this stupid shirt and I didn't have to buy either of them, right? Anyways, I am also someone that has succumbed to the intoxication of money because that's like, it's hard as a Westerner to not, but I'm also like much more wary and resistant to it these days. And you just need to be aware of how it's present in your life, and then manage your relationship with it. But yeah, it's a hard discussion. I'm out of my depth with it, but I think money as we know it is a god to kill in our era. So with all that said, if anyone's stuck around, I appreciate you listening. And let's see, I will likely try to stream again on Thursday in the afternoon. So let's plan on that. And then maybe I'll stream on Sunday. But we'll figure it out. I'm going to play you out. We're going to get a little hyped up and pepped up, hacking the gods. I think it's not beyond us to find deeper relations with other gods or find our own relations with each other and find influence beyond alcohol, central power, and money as we know it. And so I hope that you find it too. If not, we can just, kind of paddle along and hope to not fall into the death vortex. So here we go. I'll see you guys in a few days.
Hey, no ins and outs! You come out, your shit is gone. Bitch. Going back to Tangier with some drones and a spear. Post-Christian shit, post-chicken of the egg addiction shit. Past the sherm stick, real reality. Be the freak you wanna see, just don't follow me. I'm on a journey to the center of 3. Grab your fucking chain and drag it through the bike lane. Everybody's like, surrounded by long hairs. A plethora of maniacs and spiral stairs. Make you wanna break in the Apple store. Sink or swim, who fucking cares? But the birth cause, press the dick. Gaga can't handle this shit. Headed for the Sammy Davis wing. Growing for black hole of dangerous of linens and things on the way. Never call it a day. These are Tesla's great for the nighttime today. Still on the way. Bigger wig. When you come out, your shit is gone. When you come out, your shit is gone. When you come out, your shit is gone. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. When you come out, your shit is gone. When you come out, your shit is gone. I'm in. When you come out, your shit is gone. When you come out, your shit is gone. You'll catch a JPEG to the head. Uber Eats, you're an intern. I'm WikiLeaks. Most loved, therefore most hated. I'm a knock on the door, we've been waiting for you. Game changer, reclusive aggressive. Yin and yang, you know it. Info warrior, check the hacker. The Rolling Stoner, prophet of disaster. My existence is a momentary lapse of reason. Got the DNA of gothic lemon, shredded 13 times out of 11. Your bad ideas are the ATM. Shed my skin, leave it for the homeless and sleeping. Prodigal, fuck that nautical, teaching bitches how to swim. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. Teaching bitches how to swim. Teaching bitches how to swim. I'm in. Teaching bitches how to swim. Teaching bitches how to swim. The table's flipped, now we got all the coconuts, bitch. Burmies, these babies under each arm. Screaming beautiful songs. The cray, ultra contrary on. Having conversations with your car alarm. When you come out, your shit is gone. Soon your crew will be serving sandwiches named after me. Vietnamese style fool, please. What's wrong with the mass games? Untraceable by name. You speak of us in certain circles, you will be dethroned or detained. Your shit is gone. When you come out, your shit is gone. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I'm in your area. I know the first three numbers. I'm in. I know the first three numbers.
All right, cheers, guys. I think next video I'll talk about 1 star. So we'll see.